Hi, this is Robert Lee Camp, and I'm here today to present you with another class. This time we're going to talk about your planetary periods and their significance. This is a very important subject, and even if you don't know the card system, you can benefit from this little lesson we're going to talk about today. In the card system, our year is divided up into 7 what we call planetary periods. It starts on your birthday. Your birthday begins the first period of the year, and each period is 52 days long. It's a really beautiful system when you think about it. 7 times 52 is 364. So it's the exact number of days in a year. Well, there's 365, but that's the joker. We'll talk about that in another lesson. So each of these periods, starting with the first one, which is Mercury, and then Venus, and then Mars, and Jupiter, and Saturn, and Uranus, and Neptune, each of these periods has a very significant quality all to its own. Now, in your year, if you were studying the card system, you would have certain cards in each of these periods. And these cards would give you a lot more information about what actually is happening in your life. But even these cards are influenced by the period that they fall under. And so we're going to talk about the general meaning of these periods for you and for everybody. And you have to remember that each one is 52 days long. Now, unless you have my book, The Cards of Your Destiny, or unless you have my software program, you will not know exactly what day your periods start on. But you can calculate it in your head if you want. You just have to remember, go 52 days for each period. So we're looking here on the screen at Elon Musk, and his birthday is June the 28th. So his Mercury period begins on June the 28th. I'm going to just bring this back so it's highlighted there on his birthday this year. And he happened to have a 3 of clubs and 8 of hearts. But the Mercury period itself is a period when you do a lot of communicating with people, because Mercury rules communication. But it also represents short trips, like in a car. Not long trips like overseas, but short trips in a car or a bicycle. It's basically quick things. So the Mercury period, you might have the best cards in Mercury, like really great cards, but they're going to be short-lived and not as impactful as cards in other period. So in general, nothing real significant happens in that first period right after your birthday, which is good. Things will happen, and there may be bad things. The cards may predict their bad things will happen, or really good things, but they'll just be very quick things, like overnight things. For example, if you had like a 2 of hearts in the Mercury period, which is a love affair card, it would be like a one-night stand. Whereas in Venus, it could be something that lasts for the whole rest of the year. So Mercury is where we find things that are quick and they don't last a long time. Venus is different entirely. It rules 2 basic areas. It rules relationships, and it rules home and family and things that happen in the home. You can see that Elon had a 4 of clubs in his Mercury period, which means that there was satisfaction in his home life this year. I don't know the details of his personal life, and this was a few months ago, but I'm sure that if you had asked him at the time, he would say things are going pretty well in the home life, because a 4 of clubs is a card of satisfaction. But for all of us, the Venus period is a time when we focus more on home, family, and our love life. And that could be whether we're married or single. And really, having a really good card in Venus would indicate that you're going to have good luck in those areas. Of course, you can have challenging cards everywhere too, which can mean challenges in those particular areas. So 52 days after Mercury starts Venus, and then 52 days later starts the Mars period. Now, Mars is the god of war and the god of lust. So the Mars period is going to be when you're most aggressive, and you will tend to want to compete with other people. You'll have a desire to compete, and you'll be a little bit edgy yourself, and a little bit more prone to arguing and having, let's say, competitive engagements with other people. So it's very important in the cards to look at your Mars cards, because if you have difficult Mars cards, you'll be tempted to get angry and to aggressive with people, but you shouldn't, because if you have a difficult Mars card like a 7 or a 9, it's not going to have a happy ending for you. It's going to be a very difficult period. Now, Mars also rules legal matters. So whenever I get a client who's asking me, well, what do you think about, should I sue this person, or what should I do about this legal matter that's going on? The first thing I look at is, what is their Mars cards this year? Now, most of us have two spreads, like Elon has his a 7 of spades spread, and you can see that he had a 10 of spades in Mars in one spread, and he had a 5 of clubs and a 4 of spades in the other. And 5 of clubs is not here nor there. It's not good or bad, really, for legal, but the 10 of spades is a really good card, especially with the Queen of clubs, too. So if he was involved in any competitive or legal matters during that time, I would have said, yeah, you should go for it. It looks good for you. Okay? So this is Mars. Now, Jupiter is the period of the year, 52 days later again, and for Elon that begins on December the 1st, when it's the most fortunate time of the year, financially speaking. It's really related more to business than anything else. We don't, even though you may have hearts show up in Jupiter, Elon doesn't have any this year, but even if you did have hearts in the Jupiter period, it really wouldn't mean necessarily a personal relationship issue, because it's more about people that you're involved with in business. It's all about the business. And it's really good to look at your Jupiter card every year, because your Jupiter card will tell you what kinds of things you should do to make more money. It's like your signal for how should I make more money this year. Elon has a 6 of clubs, which doesn't really say much unless there was a 6 of clubs person in his life this year that was really helping him, because he also has a 10 of diamonds in Jupiter, which is a very fortunate card for finances. So this period is what he's in right now. And I think there's going to be some very good fortune for him financially during this period. Of course, we already know he's a billionaire, so how much more good fortune could one have? Okay, after Jupiter, which is the most fortunate period, we have the Saturn period. And the Saturn period is considered the most difficult period of the year for most people. It's the period of the year when you usually will get sick. And Elon happens to have his in the wintertime, starting on January 23rd. So basically, the last half of January and all of February and part of March, he's in Saturn, and so he will get sick in that period more often than any other time of the year. If you have really good cards there, you'll be protected. But even with good cards in Saturn, you have to work very hard to make things happen. It's not like you can't get things done. You can accomplish things. You can actually accomplish great things in Saturn. But Saturn has a requirement of a lot of hard work. We have to be willing to work really hard if we want to see those cards come to pass, the good part of these. And difficult cards in Saturn are more difficult than usual because they have what we call a karmic influence associated with them. Saturn means that what might happen then might be due to something you did in the past that now is coming back for you to have a look at. So Saturn things will come up and you'll go, oh yeah, I see I'm having this problem with this person, and I remember I said something nasty to them 6 months ago, and now they're coming back into my life. So Saturn is when we reap negative karma if we have any. And also it's a health period. So it's always one to keep an eye on and be careful about in our life. After Saturn, 52 days later, we have Uranus, and Uranus is like a big break from Saturn. All of a sudden we're out of Saturn, we feel better, and things are lightening up. It's the period of the year when we real estate matters take the forefront. If you're involved in selling or buying real estate, the cards there will tell you how successful you are or will be in that period. It's also the best time of the year for association with groups like churches, corporations, any large organization or groups of people. And the cards there are about your associations, about your friends. You're not your close friends, but your friends that are part of the groups that you belong to in your life. Also in Uranus, unexpected things will happen. Oftentimes, like you can't imagine what will happen. You'll see the card and you'll say, no way that can happen. And then it happens, and it happens in such an unexpected way that it really takes you by surprise. So it's kind of cool, actually, Uranus. At least it's not Saturn, okay? Now, Neptune is very significant. whatever Neptune card you have this year, it is pointing to your hopes and your fears this year. It could be a person that you're hoping will come back in your life, or afraid that they won't come back in your life, or afraid that they will come back in your life. It could be a situation that you're hoping will turn out a certain way and afraid it will turn out the bad way. Like Elon has a 9 of clubs this year in Neptune. So he might be really thinking, I really want to get something completed. Nines mean completion. But he also might have a great fear of disappointment, of failure, because a 9 can represent failure on the negative side. So the Neptune period is a period of hopes and fears, and the Neptune period is never a guarantee whether those cards will actually manifest. It's really more telling you about the contents of your subconscious mind. So try not to get too upset when you see negative cards in Neptune. They're not likely to happen, but your big challenge will be, can I not allow these cards to really mess with me and make me upset and worried all year long? That's the real key. The other significant thing to know about Neptune is it's a period of the year when you should never make really important decisions. And especially don't make important decisions about things that come to you during the Neptune period. If they had come before the Neptune period, it's okay. But if they come in during the Neptune period, it's going to always look too good to be true. And you're going to fool yourself, and you're going to regret decisions you make on new things, like anything, like an investment, a business partnership, a love affair. You got to remember that when you're in Neptune, you're sort of like on drugs for 52 days. It's like going to a movie. You're in a movie and it all seems so real and you lose yourself in the movie. But then you come out of the movie and you're not in the movie anymore. So whatever movie you are in your Neptune period, don't make any decisions in that period that will affect your life from there forward. Because when you come out of the Neptune period on your next birthday, everything's going to look a little different. So I hope this explains to you a little bit more about your planetary periods, which are very important. If you want to learn more, get a copy of my book, The Cards of Your Destiny, or go to my website, seventhunders.com. There's a free applet on there, My Destiny Cards, which will tell you what period you're in, what days it ends and begins, and you can actually go ahead one period and back one period to see what's coming. Okay? Thank you so much for your time. Take care.